Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Golf, a bi-weekly podcast featuring all things golf. I'm your host, PGA professional Mark Guttenberg. In late May of 2017, the PGA Tour champions recently came to Northern Virginia for the KitchenAid PGA Senior Championship at Trump National Golf Club in Sterling, Virginia, a major championship run by the PGA of America. 35 club professionals gained access to play alongside the legends of the game, and this week we talked to Northern Virginia's Brendan McGrath, who competed in his first major on the PGA Champions Tour. Besides being the director of instruction at Hidden Creek Country Club in Reston, Virginia, Brendan has been one of the best tournament players in the Mid-Atlantic PGA section for many years. He has won 46 professional tournaments and competed on the nationwide tour in 2011, which is presently known as the Web.com Tour. He has competed in the 2012 National PGA Club Professional Championship, as well as the 2016 National PGA Senior Club Professional Championship, and he holds a course record of 62 at Fauquier Springs Country Club in Warrenton, Virginia. This week, we talk with Brendan about his experiences playing in his first major and how he earned his spot into the field. We'll learn about his journey through the ranks of becoming a PGA golf professional and hear about his incredible course record. This episode is brought to you by TaylorMade Golf. Try the new TP5 and TP5X golf ball played by the best players in the game. And don't forget the new and improved M1 and M2 driver, fairway woods, hybrids, and irons. Find out why the best play the best by TaylorMade Golf. Welcome back to Let's Talk Golf. Today is a great day here. I love the show because I get to bring on different people in the golf industry from different walks of life. Sometimes it's a top teacher, sometimes it's a sports psychologist or a fitness expert, or a great player who's won a tournament. And today we got all in one here. I brought my good friend Brendan McGrath with me, and we're going to talk about some of his experiences. So Brendan, welcome to Let's Talk Golf.
Thank you for the invite, Mark.
Brendan, you've been around for a while, and you were a good athlete in other sports, but when and how did you first get interested in golf?
I first got interested in golf my senior year of college. I came to the conclusion I was not going to be a professional baseball player. I had time to kill. A couple friends of mine played golf. They got me interested, got me started, and as they say, the rest is history.
So that's a great intro to how you got started, but then you took it to the next level. I mean, what made you decide to go from just playing around with your buddies to, I think I'm going to be a golf pro?
Well, I don't have many hobbies in my life, and I'm comfortable with that. But that meant when I started playing golf, I wanted to see how good I could be. And maybe I went a little nutso, but that's me. So after a couple years of doing that, I decided the best way to get good at golf was to actually go to the golf course every day. So I quit my regular job, my real job, and got a job in the golf business at Riverbend Golf and Country Club.
So that was working for Roger Mack. And like most people that get a job in the golf business, when they're young, they think, I'll just get a job as a golf pro, play golf every day. And you end up, it's not quite like that, is it?
Well, yes, the job can be very, very long and demanding. In my particular situation, I worked between 45 and 50 hours a week. I had great family life, and that my wife thought it was okay for me to go ahead and play golf another 20, 25 hours that week. So she's been, for 25 years, she's been living with that.
Well, she's a saint. I know.
Yes.
I got one of those myself.
Yes.
So, you're definitely, Brendan, known as one of the top instructors in Northern Virginia. But today we're much more interested in hearing about your playing record, some of your experiences in competition. So I'd really like to know when you first realized you could compete on a professional level. Was it like an aha moment where you played a great round of golf, or was it like your first tournament victory? What was it that said, I can really do this?
So I have a belief in myself. I've been a good athlete, but playing against the best players in the area, that takes experience. The opportunities to play with them, to realize that they're human too, and they are just like you. And so that took time, that took experience to play with players like you, Mark, with players like Rick Schuler, with Chip Sullivan, and there's nothing that replaces the experience of doing it. Once having done it, you can. I thought, hey, I can do this. So it was more experience than anything. Took time.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like you say, sometimes we have these guys that we sort of worship. We idolize them. Man, I'll never beat that guy. And then you get paired with them and you're playing a tournament. And even if they beat you that day, you realize, they didn't hit it any better than I did. They didn't putt any better. They've got the same tools I have. They just have what you just said you have is an inner belief in yourself and not trying to compare yourself to others. I think that's a big part of it. So great answer there. So, recently you qualified and competed in the KitchenAid PGA Senior Championship at Trump National. That is a major on the PGA Tour champion. So, first I'd like you to tell our listeners what you had to do to get into this elite field.
To make it into the field, it is the top 35 professionals from the National Senior Club Pro Championship. To get there, you have to do well at your section level, which is the Mid-Atlantic for us. I happened to make bogey on my last hole to end up in a 3-way playoff for the first alternate.
To get to the Senior Club Pro?
To get to the Senior Club Pro.
Wow.
Which, the long and short of it is, on the first hole of the playoff, one of the guys 3-putted from about 30 feet to make a par on a par 5. So we got to keep playing.
Wow.
Which 2 holes later, I was able to win the spot of first alternate. Unfortunately, I knew I was not going to make it to the tournament. The national tournament was played on the East Coast in Florida in November. Golf pros, in our section, we knew that we had the senior PGA next May, which just occurred. Mm-hmm. So no one was going to give up their spot. And sure enough, no one did give up their spot. I got in on the national list of alternates.
No kidding. I had a similar situation one year. They played this at PGA Golf Club in Port St. Lucie, and I was like third alternate. And it was my best year of competition. 2006, I actually played in the U.S. Senior Open, won like 2 majors in our section, senior majors, and I was on my game, so I said, you know what, I'm going to take a week off, drive down to Florida, and just hang out. Now, there were 6 alternates there, and not one of us got in, so my trip was in vain, but that is so amazing that you bogeyed the last hole. You might not have even gotten in this tournament if circumstances had gone the other way, so once you got in the Senior Club Pro Championship, tell us about that tournament, because you played really well there.
Well, I happened to be 13th on the national list. So I got in from the national list as the 13th alternate.
Wow.
I know, crazy. But once you get in, they don't say, hey, you can't play well because you were an alternate. Right. Once you get in, it's free game for everybody. I happened to get a great pairing. I played with a guy named Randy Erskine, who is a fantastic player.
Former winner on the tour.
So we played at Port St. Lucie. We played the Ryder course the first day, and it just happens to be a golf course that I'm very comfortable on. Mm-hmm. I can't say I was even playing very well, but I'm comfortable on that golf course. So the first day I shot 68, and I didn't necessarily play that well, but my short game was very sharp, and I happened to chip it in 3 times.
Wow, amazing.
Now, the chips were all good. They weren't going. They were. If they didn't go in, they were right there. So I got a first round where I had some good things happen, and I played with Randy Erskine, who is 68 years old and shot 68 that day as well.
Still got it.
Once I got going that week, then the week became, I won't say it was easy, but then I became more comfortable. Becoming comfortable allowed me to play better golf. So I happened to shoot well the rest of the week and ended up finished tied for 18th or 19th in the national limit.
So going into the last round, what position were you in?
I think I was tied for 19th.
Tied for 19th. You know that the top 35, but that could mean 1 or 2 strokes different, because you could be tied for 19th through 30th, and 2 shots higher, you missed the boat. So when you're playing that last round, how much was the PGA Championship, the senior PGA, on your mind?
Well, okay, so my tournament that week, I played, the first round I played great. The second round, I kind of gagged. I was nervous. I was worried about making the cut. The third round, after I'd made the cut, I played great again. Awesome. And so going into the last day, I was at 6 under par, tied for 19th. I played my first 6 holes 2 under. I got to 8 under. Nice. At that point, I said, hey, why don't you go ahead? Brendan, go ahead and make a few birdies and get right in the thick of this thing. So that's when I started going bogey, 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 double. No. I went all the way back to, I was 4 over for the day, 2 under for the tournament. And then I happened to make birdie on the 16th hole, and the 18th hole was a really tough hole that day, but I did make a birdie on it. So to move myself back in. On that last day, we know as golfers, everybody is going to be nervous. Everybody is kind of, fighting their own demons.
So when you made that putt on 18, did you know then you were in?
I didn't. I didn't watch the scoreboard that day. I had been playing with a guy the last 2 days who was 65 years old. He shot 68 on the third round, and we were tied going into the last hole. But we had talked, and he said, as a 65-year-old man, he said, I don't count anymore. And I thought it was just great advice. He just plays the shot for what it's worth. So when I made the putt, I was playing with Brad Lardon, who was our senior National Player of the Year last year. Mm-hmm. And I said, God, I hope that gets in. And he said, well, where are you at? I said, well, I'm at 4 under now. He goes, oh, yeah, that's in. I was like, okay, great.
What a great feeling. I mean, it reminds me when I was lucky enough to qualify for the U.S. Senior Open. The qualifier was at International Country Club, and I had the 7:30 tee time. Went out, shot 69 in windy conditions, but you don't know. And there were only 2 spots, 84 guys for 2 spots. Anything could happen. Well, with 1 threesome left out on the golf course, I was still alone at 69.
Awesome.
And even then, I didn't know. So what happens? Pat Talent, you've heard of him.
Oh, of course.
He comes in with a 68.
Oh,
another guy. So I'm still in because there were 2 spots. But another guy in his group, Dave Raisley, comes in with a 69. Now we got to go in a playoff, and fortunately, I managed to win the playoff to get in. But I'll never forget that
first
feeling.
Time off. Oh.
Yeah, I'll never forget that feeling when that putt went in to win the playoff. I realized what was ahead of me, and that had to be so cool for you. I was so happy to hear you got that. So that gets me to my next question. Now you're in the big show. You're playing with all these famous guys, and how did you prepare for your first major while working as the director of instruction at Hidden Creek Country Club in Reston?
Well, I'm an all-in golfer, so I'm always telling my players, hey, you got to practice, you got to play, you got to put yourself out there. So I'm always doing that anyway. So in terms of preparing for this event, a couple things happen. I think that as you practice your golf, you're practicing for 90 days from now. So you're preparing for 90 days. You can do a little bit of cramming as it comes close to an event. But generally speaking, the work of preparing for it, of becoming a better golfer, occurs at least 90 days ago. So I felt like by mid-February, I'd actually done my preparation. I had hoped to be able to do some cramming for it, and there's hope that your form will be on when it's time. But form is temporary. I got a good friend of mine, John O'Leary, who coaches at Trump, and his line is form is temporary. Class is permanent, but form is temporary. So as a golfer, I'll be a good golfer again. I'll be a bad golfer at times again. And so working into this event, I'd hoped that my form would be really good. But apparently it wasn't.
Well, actually, it really wasn't that bad. And it's good you had your good friend John O'Leary on the bag, too.
Absolutely.
Who worked at Trump
National. He was great.
He's a great player in his own right, so that had to be helpful as well. And you've played in big events before. You've played on events in what is now called the Web.com Tour. You've played in the PGA National Club Pro, the Senior National Club Pro. How was this event different? Like when you got in, how was it different?
This event is different. As senior golf goes, there's 3 really prestigious events. There's the British Open, Senior Open. There's the U.S. Senior Open, and you know about that. Mm-hmm. And there's the PGA Championship. There are other Senior PGA Championship. There are other events on the Senior Tour that are great, but these are the most prestigious. These are the ones that the guys who have had, for lack of better words, real careers, they want their names on that trophy. So, this one was big. The winner gets $500,000, and nearly everybody who's 50 and over who still likens themselves to a golfer, they were there. They were missing one player, Freddie Couples. I don't know why he wasn't there, but I don't think he plays a lot of golf this time of year.
So your point about it being different, I can totally attest to. And I was lucky enough, I played 1 full year on the PGA Tour, but never played in a major. And I qualified as a club pro for Kemper Opens and Anheuser-Busch, and they were great. The USGA and the Senior Open, the atmosphere was different. The major at KitchenAid, I was there. I volunteered on Friday, saw you there, as a matter of fact, and there's just like an aura about the event, like you're on, hallowed grounds. And, I'll tell you a quick story. I played miserably in the U.S. Senior Open, which kind of gets me into my next question with you. But at the end of my first round, I got to talk to Johnny Miller. Leslie and I had a pretty cool story.
Pretty good golfer.
But I won't get into that. But Johnny told me, because I was feeling pretty low, I shot 72 the day before in a practice round with Tom Watson. I shot 82 the first round of the tournament. And Johnny said, Mark, you're playing in front of 10,000 people on every hole. These guys do this every single day for a living. He said, take some solace in the fact that for 1 week, you were in the top 156 senior golfers in the world. You made it to the show because of your ability. So don't beat yourself up. And that kind of brings me to my next point with you. I think you performed admirably. You only missed the cut by 4 shots in a major. So a couple questions around that. I want to know what your goals were going into the week, but also... the second day, the wind gusts were 40 to 50 miles an hour. I mean, it was so windy, and you were out there during the worst of it. They halted play because balls were landing on the green, stopping, and then being blown off the green. It was very unfair. You couldn't play. And even having said that, you shot 74 the first day, and the conditions weren't great there either. If you'd have shot another 74, you'd have made the cut with 1 to spare, I think it was.
It would have been on the number.
Right on the number, that's right. You shot 78 the second day, missed it by 4. But going in, and, for me, when I played in the U.S. Senior Open, my nerves got the best of me. I was not myself. I didn't play the game I knew I had. You seemed to be yourself, and I loved the way, one difference was the U.S. Senior Open 2 weeks prior, I didn't even know I was playing in the tournament. All of a sudden, I'm doing my lesson schedule, and now I got a crash course. You knew well in advance that you had this tournament to prepare for, and it seemed like you just went about your business like you always do. You didn't get intimidated. As a noted sports psychologist, Bob Rotella says it's okay to have butterflies as long as they're flying in formation. So my question to you, what goals did you have going in, and were you at all nervous, and how did you keep it together?
Well, first of all, thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it. That makes me feel very good.
Well deserved.
That means I probably accomplished some of the things I was trying to accomplish. I looked at this event as just another golf tournament in the sense that it's going to be more than I've ever experienced. At the same point, everybody starts at even par, so everybody has to earn their...
tied for the lead at one point.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has to earn their way, so I look at it as just another golf tournament. How do I prepare for a golf tournament? That would be, I think it's 2 parts. I'm trying to win. We are keeping score, so we're going to declare a winner. So I do want to be the winner. So my thoughts were I want to win. Does it seem a little unrealistic with this being the first time you play in a senior major? Perhaps. The second part is I want to do my best, whatever that may be. There was an old pro, John McNaney.
Sure.
So John McNaney, 15 years ago, as I'm playing in a golf tournament, I'm going birdie, bogey, and he says to me, stop throwing them back. Okay? Every shot counts. So that's how I look at my best.
Yeah.
I am just trying to do my best. 83 is better than 84. 82 is better than 83, and so on and so forth. So it's two parts. I'm trying to win, and I'm trying to do my best. So as this tournament went along, is it more realistic to say, hey, you're just trying to make the cut? Maybe it is. I just don't think that was the goal.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point when you're 2 shots behind the cut line, your goal becomes, hey, I want to make the cut.
Yeah.
But I did try to play it like it's a regular golf tournament, because it is a regular golf tournament.
When you get right down to it, that's all it is. The golf course you played a bunch of times. The grass is the same. The weather is the same. You're really the same. Why do we treat it different? So I love those answers. I mean, I think you make a good point. If your goal is to win and you fail at that, maybe you finish top 10. If your goal is just to make the cut, you're going to be right around that, and that's the best you're going to do. You're never going to do better. So good for you on that. Who were you paired with the first 2 rounds?
I was paired with Tom Pernice Jr.
Oh yeah, a winner out there also.
Yeah, five-time winner on the senior, and he was really good. He could do a couple things with the golf ball that I cannot do. That I walk away from it going, okay, I've got to get better at that.
Okay, good.
The other gentleman I was paired with, his last name is Tamura, and he's a Japanese fella, and he was playing in his first competitive round of golf in the United States.
Wow.
He turned professional at age 49.
How did he get in the tournament?
I don't know exactly. I assume it's from the Japan Senior Tour.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, he made the cut. Tom Pernice missed it by 1.
No kid. Wow. What a great experience.
It was really neat.
So, you actually kind of led into my next question a little bit. What do you think is the biggest difference between, say, a senior on the Champions Tour and a senior professional at the club pro level?
I hesitate to answer this question because it may not sound the way I want it to sound. I just didn't think they were that much better than us. I walked away from it. Tom Pernice could do something with the golf ball that I couldn't do. Mm-hmm. He could take his 3-wood off the ground and hit it 250 yards in the air, apexed about 120 feet high. I can hit my 3-wood 235 yards in the air because I can only apex that thing about 50 feet high. Mm. He could launch it. Beyond that, he didn't hit it farther than me. He didn't putt it better than me. He did score better. He scored 3 shots better than me for 2 days.
But you make some very valid points. And my job on Friday as a volunteer was to manage the short game area for 3.5 hours, and then to go over the range and manage that. Get them balls, clean up the greens, just make sure we stayed out of the way. But I got to watch the club pros, the 35 club pros, come through there and work on sand shots, chip shots, and then got to watch them all hit balls on the range. And I don't think anybody that doesn't know golf could pick out the club pros from the senior guys. I think, one thing, when I did play in the Senior Open in a practice round with Tom Watson, I will say this, I outdrove him most of the day. I played really good that day. I shot 72. He shot about 74, but he wasn't trying to beat me, and I wasn't trying to beat him. But every hole we'd get around the greens. This is U.S. Open, rough conditions. He'd drop 4 or 5 balls out of this thick rough, and he was hitting high flop shots, making them stop and check, stop and roll, whatever. And it was amazing. I said, boy, I don't have that. I don't. But maybe if I did it every day, all day, every day, I would have that.
I will say this. Our section has a history of really good players.
We do. We really do. And
that includes yourself and others. And our current senior players, we've got 2 players that made the cut. Rick Schuler, Jim Estes. And we sent 5 guys from the 35 club pros. So when I say, hey, they're not that much better than me, better than us, we play against really good players here.
You do have to play your best to win around here, and you have done that. So that means a lot. When you go out and you say, I won in the Mid-Atlantic section, you're saying something. You've beaten some of the best players.
It's a really good section.
So, any desire for you at all to try to make the Champions Tour?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm a dreamer.
Why not?
I'm a wannabe, of course. The beauty of golf, to me, is that it's all earned.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they don't ask you how you made the 4. They ask you what was the score. So, dreams, yeah, sure. That's all good stuff. And if I perform well enough, then that stuff will happen. It's just golf.
You're very young in the senior world.
Yeah.
You're like 50, 51?
I just turned 51.
So, I'm 64. My heydays are behind me, but I still love to compete. But I say go for it. Dream big. And you've already proven your worth and your ability on a given day. So you just gotta put yourself in the right position.
You make me feel good.
Well, you should feel good. You've done a lot. And there's one thing that doesn't make me feel so good, and I'm going to bring that up right now. We're going to talk about it just for a minute.
What is that?
Well, Brendan, you've been a great player for a long time. You've won 46 professional events.
I know where you're going with this.
You've been named Mid-Atlantic PGA Central Chapter Player of the Year. But I want to ask you to tell us about one of the greatest rounds of golf you've ever played, and that is your course record.
It is the
62 at Fauquier Springs. And why I say you'll forever be linked to me is because I was the course record holder before. Now, before I let you go into your great round, I'm not taking anything away from your 62 because that was a lower score. What I have solace in is knowing that my record was on a different golf course. There were 3 holes that are completely changed.
Fair enough.
Number 7, they took the tree out of the middle of the fairway.
I never played it with the tree.
Number 9, it was a totally different hole and different green.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5 had a tree right next to the green.
I never played it with that tree either.
I retired my course record with that course. You on the new and improved course shot 62, and I bow to you. You are the course record holder. But tell us about that round. What was that like? Were you playing in a tournament? Was it with the...
No, it was just a Friday afternoon.
Okay.
And we would... There were 3 or 4 of us that would play, and we would always, for what it's worth, we would putt the ball out. Because if you wanted the course record, you had to actually play real golf. There was no gimmies to get a course record.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and you were after that thing because I remember you called me. You wanted my scorecard and everything.
Yes,
you posted in the pro shop.
We did.
So I knew you were gunning for me.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, just one of those days that everything went my way. I will say this about that day: I birdied the last 4 holes to shoot the 62.
Wow.
Now, the next time I went out to play golf was 3 days later, and I birdied my first 5 holes.
Holy moly.
I got to the 6th hole, and I had a 30-footer, and I was like, I'm not going to make a birdie here. I'm going to make a par. And I did make a par, of course, but...
It's crazy when you're playing like that, because I remember that day when I shot the 63, like it was yesterday. I had 8 birdies and an eagle. I actually had 2 bogeys that day, but... I wasn't thinking course record. I wasn't even thinking about winning the tournament. I was thinking, man, this course is playing easy today.
Right.
And I got
everybody's shooting good.
I know. And I got to the last hole. We had a shotgun start. So my last hole was number 5, which is the one with that tree right there. Right. And I had like a 20-footer to shoot 63.
Got a severe green, too.
And I was below the hole, thank goodness for that. But had about an uphill 20-footer. I said, what? I need to make this putt to win this tournament. I don't think I'm going to win if I don't.
I'm sure no one was close to you that day.
Well, I tell you what, I did make it. I shot 63. The next closest was 67, Bud Lentelman. And they told me, the course record was 65 before. So it was really one of the coolest days I've ever had. I mean, I'll never forget that.
Hey, I love you, but it was great taking your name out of that scorecard that I had posted in the shop.
I'm calling 2 things. It was a different course, and it was in a competition of a tournament.
Yes, you have
62 is 62.
You have legitimacy.
Where you trumped me on that was you played the tips, right?
We did.
And we played the white tees, which
isn't that
only 5 yards forward.
Right. It's not.
Well, Brendan, it was great having you here today, and I loved hearing about your experience.
Thank you.
You're a credit to the section. You're a great teacher, and you're a great player, and a good friend of mine too. And so I'd like to just for the listeners, how can someone reach you if they want to come to Hidden Creek and take a lesson and learn how to become a better player?
The easiest way to reach me is either through my website. That's mcgrathgolf.com.
Okay.
My email is brendanmcgrathgolf@aol.com. And you can reach me on my cell phone as well, which is 703-505-3240.
Well, you heard it, folks, and give this guy a call. If you want to learn how to become a better player, he's a great teacher. He could teach you how to play. He's a credit to the game. Brendan, thanks for coming on the show.
Mark, thank you so much for the invitation. This has been wonderful. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode of Let's Talk Golf. Our thanks to Brendan McGrath for sharing his insights into the world of tournament golf at the highest level. As always, I welcome your thoughts and feedback about the show by contacting me through my website at guttenbergsgolf.com. Please subscribe to our show on iTunes and write a review if you like the show. So we'll talk to you next time on the next episode of Let's Talk Golf.